Um, okay, so from the last two or three YouTube lives, we have been discussing where it is. Yeah, so we are discussing this book, okay, and we will going to discuss it, and we are going to continue discuss it. But I thought, why not start a new book alongside that book, and even a review. I have published a book review on this book already on my YouTube channel. In the video section, you can say it must be 2 to 3 videos before. In the same year, I think. Yeah, and now I thought that I'm gonna discuss it in much more detail because it is from a career perspective, from a career development point of view, from a professional point of view. This book is quite beneficial for anyone who is new in the professional world, who doesn't know the ins and outs, the rituals of the professional life. So I think this book will guide big time to all those listeners who are currently student in their particular field or have just started any job or internship or articleship. Okay, so I will give the link of this book's complete book review. But I think, but yeah, that book review, as you all know, that I have been discussing books and will continue to discuss books in chapter number 1 of this book. This is related to your career counseling, your career path, career growth, all that sort of. I think there is some internet issue with my live session. I hope the internet stays stable. I think I have been reconnected. Yeah. So the author of this book has been the president of the outplacement firm. And yeah, one thing more, this book was originally published in 2018. Okay, so this is quite a lot of time till now. Uh, I am currently discussing this book at the date of 28th of December 2024. Okay, so the complete name of the book is You Incorporated, Your Career is Your Business. Okay, so all sort of tips, all sort of work, you can say assignments have been or have also been um, discussed in this book, that what how can you work on yourself, what to do, how to improve yourself, how to improve your skill set, how to stay employable in the long term of the of your professional life. And plus she has also shared some statistics about various different job markets like the US, the Japan, Asia, and so on and so forth. Okay, so this book is based on 5 chapters. The first one's name, which we're going to discuss in this live session, and the first chapter's name is The Only Constant is Change. The second chapter's name is Employability. Third chapter's name is Improving Your Personal Competitiveness. Fourth chapter's name is You Incorporated, the name of the book itself. And the last chapter, fifth chapter's name is Personal Marketing. Okay, so basically, what I love the most about this book is that this book, when you complete reading this book, when you finish reading this book basically uh, sets basically teaches you how to treat yourself as a personal brand in business, in your job. Because this book basically claims or argues that from the okay, so technically speaking, you are employed, you are doing a job for in a company, for a business. Okay, but technically you are a service provider, and you are basically, and the company in which you are employed, currently employed, or you are going to employed in the future, is your client. Okay, so this perspective, this book discusses the things in that particular perspective, which makes this book quite special in terms of how to deal with yourself and how to treat yourself as a personal brand, how to improve your sales, which in other words mean how to improve your revenue, increase your employment income or your freelance income, how to market your skills, how to market yourself, how to improve your reputation in your particular professional industry market, the industry in which you are working in, and so on and so forth. Okay, so and a lot of practical advice is given in this book, and a lot of lists you can prepare for yourself, to-do list, kind of checklists which you can work on in order to improve your reputation and your personal standing in your industry. Okay, so before the start of chapter number 1, there is some information about the author. And again, for those who understand Urdu, I would direct you to that particular book review I made earlier this year, and you will find it just a few videos in the video section of my YouTube channel. And for those who don't have any idea, who have just found out about just discovered my channel, I will try to give as much information as I can in this live stream and the live streams I'm gonna conduct regarding this particular book. And plus you can also reach out on my LinkedIn page, where I have written a specific book review about this particular book and what kind of information it entails. Okay, so the before the chapter number 1, the author has given some information, some achievements about herself. Who is she? How she started her career, and what are the accomplishments of her professional life. After that, a usual acknowledgements page where the author acknowledges the efforts of other people who have assisted her in writing this book, and then just a brief introduction about what this book is, who is the target audience of this book, and who this book is for specifically, what can you expect to learn from this book, and how this book will help you practically in improving yourself in your industry. Okay, so moving on, the first chapter, the only constant is change. Okay, so I would like to discuss page by page this chapter, and will try to communicate as concisely and as in detail as possible to you all about what you can learn from this specific chapter. Okay, so in this particular chapter named The Only Constant is Change, basically the author has given a kind of she has basically compared the current professional you can say current professional world, and how it is different from the professional world in which our parents, our elders used to work. Okay, like for example, 50 or 60 years back, what was the concept of job? What was the definition of job back then? And now what is the definition of job? What were the employee turnover ratio back then? And what is the employee turnover ratio now? Okay, employee turnover ratio basically means that how much an employee or employees usually switch jobs from one company to another. Okay, and the statistics are, to be honest, mind-boggling, which I'm gonna state in just a moment. Okay, so the author has basically stated from the very start of this chapter that globalization of companies has changed the rules of employment and jobs. So first of all, the author has made an argument that how the process of globalization of this whole world has changed how we used to get jobs, how we used to perform, and how these things are going to differ now. Okay, like previously in the old days, like the author mentioned, that once you get a job, then it will be a job for lifetime for yourself. Okay, or even if, for example, if you are in a job, even in a private sector, or most of the jobs back in the day were in government organizations. Okay, so when a person used to have a job, he or she will dedicate his or her life, entire lifetime, to that particular company in which he or her got the first job. Okay. And but this is not the case in today's world. In today's world, the today's generation is more used to switch jobs more ruthlessly, more rapidly than the earlier generations, due to various reasons that have been discussed in this book. Some of them, one of the biggest factor of the most job switching in today's day and age as compared to the previous time is the economy, the financial situation. The times are quite tough now as compared to back then. Now the market is more competitive. Now the you can say the whole size of the pie has not increased that much as compared to the whole world population has increased in the last 50 or 60 years. Okay. So that has made things quite fierce. That has made the job market, the industries around the world, not just in the developing countries, even in the developed countries, the industries are now quite fierce, now quite competitive, in which it is much more difficult to get a good job in which, with a stable income, in which you can afford a house, a car, and to raise a family, as compared to you can say 50 or 60 years back. Okay. So the globalization has made a lot of impact because the world economy was not integrated that much back in the day. Okay. You can say in 1950s and 60s, when the industrialization process was kind of in process, and even in the developing countries, the you can say the job market was not as competitive as it is now. And moving on, on the second page, it is the second heading is companies have changed. Okay. So as the employees have changed, likewise the companies have also changed. Their approach is also changed. Previously, like 20, 30, 40 years back, the companies used to cherish those particular employees who used to who used to stay loyal to the company. Okay. Now in today's day and age, this is not the case anymore. Now, previously the companies were not that much profit driven, and now the companies are much more profit oriented, and they just prioritize that which employee, they just basically screen all of the employees that are sitting in their organization working, that which employees are more productive for us and which of them are not. And companies usually now are more inclined to do delayering on a regular basis than they used to do back in the days. Okay. So that's why the approach from the company side has also changed due to the globalization phenomena. Okay. Because now the cost is with the outsourcing phenomena being introduced into the global economy, like a company incorporated in USA or operating in USA can get its work done by a greater team of individuals in India, in Pakistan, in Bangladesh, or in Sri Lanka, as compared to the people which they can employ in their own country, which will cost them more. Okay. That's why the companies in the first world, like in UK, USA, Canada, etc., are more inclined towards hiring people from the third world, because you can say hiring a complete team in the third world is equivalent to hiring one person in the first world, one employee from the first world. Okay. So it is that cheap hiring from these developing countries. And due to this outsourcing, these mergers and more common mergers and acquisitions between different companies in order to increase their profit margins, and due to all these things, basically the job market dynamics have changed. The attitude towards professional, towards career, towards you can say employee or employer satisfaction have quite changed. Okay. And after that, the author has basically drawn a point by point comparison between companies in today's day and age and companies in the past. Okay, so what are the factors? Like in the heading, companies have changed, the author has given all the information that I just mentioned, but practically speaking, how these companies have changed in the modern world. And on this another page, the author basically has drawn a comparison, point by point comparison, that how it is. So the first thing the author has mentioned is companies are subject to change on an ongoing basis. As I discussed with you just before this point, like the companies are more prone to conduct delayering, to restructure things on their behalf, to restructure their team, to restructure their hierarchy, in order to, to just keep searching for that extra profit margin they were not getting before. And this was not that much common in the past, but now it is more common, which is why employees will have to will have to be more competitive, will have to work more on their self, will have to be more skillful in order to compete for the same pie that our elders used to get easily, but we'll have to fight more for it because of this, you can say, profit oriented race. So the companies are subject to change on an ongoing basis, like I discussed. After that, the second point of comparison is companies carry out dramatic technological innovations. Okay, so back in the days, there was not that much of a technological advancement, and not that rapid, especially like we are witnessing in today's day and age. For example, um, I would what kind of example from my practical experience I can give you? Yeah, like there is some sort of you can say the use of AI. The use of AI in the companies in today's day and age, there was no concept of using artificial intelligence in any way, like Chat GPT, like Google Gemini, and so on. And these things cause the administrative side of things much quicker, much efficient, and many other technologies, like uh, for those who work in the finance industry or in the computer science industry, in the software field, in the software as a service field, though they know that now there is a specific software for each and every kind of work that we are doing. Okay, but back in the days, the softwares were too less, and most of the work was manually done. But now there is a software for each and everything. Like for example, if you want to send an email, there are various softwares available, applications available, like Gmail, like Outlook, and etc. And similarly, for example, like there had used to be quite a lot of paperwork on papers, on you can say, yeah, on paper sheets and all, etc. 30-40 years back. But now there is Microsoft Excel, on which most of the financial workings have been done. Okay, and after that, and now there is software for everything. So now the technology has made things more efficient, and hence now the greater progress is being achieved in lesser time, and hence the companies are getting more and more competitive, even whenever a new and more efficient software comes in market for any companies in the past and in today's world. The first one we discussed, the second one we discussed, and the third one is companies merge or are acquired by other companies. Okay, so in case of this, when a company is acquired by another company, you can say, yeah. Okay, so in the business terms, it is called merger or acquisition. It depends that what kind of acquisition is that. Okay, in case of merger or acquisition, usually a restructuring takes place, and for example, a small company gets acquired by a bigger fish in the same industry, then the small company's employees are more likely to get fired, and hence, if they are not that productive, if they cannot prove their skill set, if they cannot prove their enhanced employability skill set, then they are going to get fired because the already existing employees, the team of the existing acquired company, are gonna take place of all those employees. Okay, so this was not that common a few decades back. In the point number 4, companies are constantly restructured and reorganized to remain competitive and improve efficiency and profits, like I discussed earlier. Um, and in the point number 5, rapid market changes along with disruptive and exponential technologies force companies. Yeah, that is the same thing. Like, for example, if a new software or if a new technology comes into market, and one company out of the all industry in which several of hundreds of companies are working, one or two companies started using the latest technology, and due to which their efficiency gets increased, so they can you can they can do the cost cutting much more fiercely in order to gain that extra industry share, and hence the profit share will be increased for them. So in order to catch up, the other companies will also have to adapt the same technological changes, and the more efficient softwares will have to be implemented in the other companies as well, if they want to survive in that particular industry. So these sort of things. And after that, the point number 6 is knowledge is becoming increasingly valuable. Well, knowledge is becoming increasingly valuable as the point mentioned in this. Okay. Yeah. So just for you, Saad, it is this book discussion that I'm discussing at this point. The first chapter. Okay, so currently we are discussing the portion of this book that how the companies in today's day and age are different than the companies in the past. In the point number 6, knowledge is becoming increasingly valuable as there is more competition in industry, more technological advancement, more enhanced skill set is required. Hence, the latest program, the latest educational program, the latest skill set, the latest softwares are also becoming in more demand, and hence a more robust and a more efficient skill set and a more efficient you can say workforce is required now in order to keep up, in order to compete with the global market. Okay. And after that, the point number 7, in the point number 7, the author says that the competition is fierce and it is global. Like I just mentioned, like back in the days, the economy was not that much integrated of the whole world, and hence the markets of the different continents of the different countries were kind of isolated from each other. But in today's day and age, as a person sitting in USA, being a director of a company in USA, can get his work done more cheaply than from a team sitting in India, as compared to hiring employees from his same country, which will cost him much more. So asking from themselves to be from their public to be more competitive, in order to be more competitive, to be more skillful, if they want to thrive in the world market and to get more foreign remittances in their own countries. Okay, so there are three more points left in regards to comparison between the companies in today's day and age and companies of the past few decades. In the point number 8, it is said that the companies focus on the core businesses in which they have a competitive advantage. So this is a more simpler point. Like in today's day and age, as the author says, that the companies usually continue with the ventures that are profitable for them, and they just discontinue the ventures that are not that profitable, or there is too much market saturation, like there is too much competition in that particular segment, so the companies choose to not to compete, or just to get over that particular segment, and they focus on their particular niche and their particular industry pipe in which they have already made up a mark of themselves. Okay, and after that, markets and investment companies are placing increased pressure on companies to obtain more and better results in the short term and long term. Again, this is the rat race of getting the more profit, that extra pie of profit. That pressure is being imposed by the company's shareholders, the directors, and all the stakeholders that are involved in the company's profitability, and everyone who is the major stakeholder of getting the most dividends out of the company. They are basically asking their employees to do more, and these employees are not going to get that much of the share of the company's dividends, which they you can say which they deserve from their hard work. But these are the fruits of capitalism. In the last point of comparison, it is written that the digital age is increasingly. My internet connection is a bit unstable. Anyways, I think it got reconnected. So the last point that I just mentioned, the author is emphasizing on the point that due to the globalization and outsourcing phenomena, now the economy has been molded into a kind of a gig economy. Okay, so what is a gig economy? That in previously 10 to 20 or 30 or 40 years back, if a company wanted to get a specific task done for itself, then it needed to hire a specific person full time, or in some rare cases there were part-time workers or employees. But in today's day and age, the companies do not need to hire full-time employees. Okay, they can only just hire a freelancer who they can you can say pay on an hourly basis, and whenever that particular task comes up in their company. Okay, and they don't need to bear the cost of an employee full time, 8 hours per day, and all that thing, and they don't need to endure that cost on a monthly basis. Rather than they would just hire a freelancer from an Upwork.com, Fiverr.com, or any other freelance platform to get that particular job done, which is not that much in demand in their company, which again decreases their cost, their cost, and leaves more room for their profits. Okay, so this was a bit of a comparison. After that, author has given a reference to a World Economic Forum Global Job Loss Report of 2016. Okay, so I'm just gonna read that according to the World Economic Forum's 2016 The Future of Jobs report, all these changes could lead to a net loss of as many as 5.1 million jobs globally by 2020. Okay, so basically here she is quoting World Economic Forum's job loss reports, one of the sentences, that due to all of the points that I just read in front of you and analyzed them, there could potentially be a huge loss in the job market, and the unemployment may increase as a result of this fierce and competitive cutthroat competition corporate sector, which has now due to the latest practices of them. Okay, and after that, the another heading of this chapter is "It's for Life is now as long as it works for both of us." So in this whole point, in today's day and age, this is not the case. This is the concept of job for a lifetime is not applicable in today's economy, and now things are quite straightforward. If I am the owner of a company, I need an employee who is good at his work. I will hire him, and if he is not good as I expected, and he could not do the job done, and he could not do the job as per my expectations, I will straight up fire him. I will not consider anything else, which was not the case in the past as per the authors mentioned statistics. Okay. And after that, likewise, we work with the organization. Yeah. So, and if it works for me, then I'll work for you. If it will not work for me, I will not work for you. This same mindset also is in the mind of the current employees who work for the companies. Like for myself, if I apply for a job in a specific company or a specific accounting firm or whatever, then I will consider my points before applying to a particular company, like what I'm gonna get while getting employed at that particular company. Okay, so things are now quite more transactional than before. And one more thing that the author discusses in this book is that in previously some 40 or 50 years back, the word unemployed was considered a bit taboo, okay, in the corporate sector. Like the people used to look down upon those people who got fired or who just left their job or for whatever reason. Okay, but now this is not the case. Now people are on and off of their jobs quite usually, and they themselves and the people around them don't care much about this thing, because again, now the world is moving more towards the gig economy side of things, and which where the things are more transactional and not that much binded together. So after that, employees tenure statistics in different countries. Yeah, this is quite an interesting portion. I'm gonna read it in front of you. That it says that the US Bureau of Labor Statistics found that the overall employee tenure had gone down from 4.6 years in January 2014 to 4.2 years in January 2016. And that median tenure among the 25 to 34-year-old group, the group in which the youth usually falls, was 2.8 years. Okay, so from the age group bracket of 25 to 34 years of age, these employees are more likely to switch jobs rather than the people who are greater than this age bracket. Okay, after that, this was the US Bureau of Statistics report. And after that, there is Canada's. In Canada, between 2013 and 2017, the average job tenure across all industries was 103 months. Okay, and that is 8.6 years. Okay, so a much more stable employment tenure than the US is. In Australia, the average is 3 years and 4 months. Okay, so in developing countries around 2015, 16, 17, these were the job tenures in the developed countries. Okay, after that, finding a new job statistics. Okay, so in as per the author's own firm in which he is the president, it has been reported that more than 77% of job seekers find a new position that pays the same as their old salary or more, and in 90% of the cases, their next position opens better horizon in their careers. This data has been validated by KPMG in Peru. Okay, so this was another statistic of one of the South American countries, Peru. How the things are there in the job market. Okay, um, okay. So now comes quite an interesting topic. So this is about that job security declines higher you go. Okay, so when I read this section of the book before reading this complete subchapter, from the title, I felt quite weird that how does it work? Like I used to think that when as as much as I will go higher in my hierarchy, in the company that I work in, the more stable my job will be. But the author basically explains in this particular section that how the executives working in any company, for example, the C-suite class, like the CEO, CFO, the COO, all these kinds of people are more likely to have less job security than the lower hierarchy people. Okay, so the thing basically she defines in she tells in all this point is that once a CEO gets hired in any company by the board of directors, then there are certain expectations attached from that particular CEO or CFO, but mainly she discussed was the position of chief executive officer. Okay, and for example, in the CEO has been given multiple targets, like these are the projected sales revenue we need in the next year, these are the profits we need, these are the acquisitions, or these are the market share we need to achieve in the next year, and so on and so forth. In case the CEO is not able to do that, then the most expectations in any company, as per this author, are expect the most expectations are from the obviously the CEO and the top level officers of the board of directors. Okay, the board of directors expects the most from the top tier leadership, which they hire directly, and then after that, the CEO is responsible for the secondary leadership level hiring, and so on. So whenever, for example, a CEO fails to perform or fails to achieve that target that the BOD gave him, then uh, he gets fired. Okay, and usually in bigger companies, what happens, like for example, I studied this same phenomena in the well while I was studying the biography of Steve Jobs, while Apple was going through a state of uncertainty, a state of, you can say, it had quite a huge growth curve in the 80s, and then there were some huge management decisions that were taken by then CEO of the Apple, and in which what happens is that whenever a CEO gets you can say laid off from the company, then his whole team gets laid off, like all the people he brought him like all the people he brought in with him. Usually what happens in the first world, in the developed countries, is that whenever a CEO comes, he usually brings his own team, his own chief financial officer, his own chief operating officer, his own secretary, and so on and so forth. So once a CEO doesn't perform, the whole team usually gets layered. Okay, and when the new CEO comes, he gets his own team, he hires his own people for that same job. Okay, so this is a phenomena in which the author presents an argument that the higher you go in a company's hierarchy, the less stable your job is, because your job is more dependent on tangible achievements and tangible target, how much targets you actually achieved, rather than did you do 9 to 5 correct, did you come to office on time, etc., and all that crap. It does not matter at that point. All that matter at that point are the results, that what a CEO can deliver. Okay, so from the author's own outplacement firm, um, the author states some statistics about these C-suite level executives, like and I quote, of the approximately 48,000 people from every job level, manual laborers, workers, technical personnel, professionals, executives, managers, and directors, that Lee Hecht Harrison Peru, the company of which the author is president of, were okay, has helped relocate in the last 25 plus years. Almost 12,000 were 12,000 of all these people who this firm, outplacement firm, has helped to relocate are the executives. Among this group, nearly 650 were general managers or CEOs of major companies. Many of them had master's degrees from prestigious universities such as Harvard, Yale, Columbia, and Sorbonne, okay, or the London School of Economics. So basically, this is just a statistic that author presents here in order to, verify the argument that she is trying to deliver here. That no matter how, from which prestigious university or which prestigious college you have studied, but if you are not able to deliver the results, or anything does not matter. Okay. So after that, why more senior people have stable jobs? In the opposite scenario, the company, it is possible. Yeah. So in another place of the same subchapter, the author says that in the opposite scenario of a company is doing well, then it's very possible that another company will buy it. If that happens, then the new owners will bring their own people in, including possibly a new CEO. Every acquisition or merger affects operations, plants, new businesses, and so forth. The bigger company, which has the ability to purchase that particular company, may purchase it, may acquire it, and in that case, also the CEO and the old team of CEO gets also replaced. Okay. So after that, the another subchapter is your success is your happiness. This is more of a, you can say, a kind of a different kind of subchapter than we discussed earlier. Is that undergo on a different, yeah. So here the crux of the argument author makes in this subchapter is that success, the definition of success has also changed, moving from the past few decades. Okay, like before, the success was much more. Okay, so here first we discuss the definition the author gave, and then we can move forward. The success is a reflection of who we are and our level of personal satisfaction with what we do, not what we own. Okay, and people used to associate success with material possessions and everything that these entail. However, it is time to change our perspective. So now, as per the author, the success is more based on how satisfied are people with their jobs rather than what they possess tangibly, what they possess in material terms. Okay, so success, not the domestic lives, the personal lives of the people are now more affected. That the time of spending of contributing to people's personal life, to their people's own personal life, is now much less as compared to before. Okay, after that, you need to stay in the game. Okay, so basically the crux of this subchapter, the subheading is that you need to constantly upgrade yourself, you need to constantly increase your employability. And how you can improve your employability, what is employability actually, these all things have been discussed later in the book, which we will discuss eventually. But the crux of this subchapter point is, if you want to stay employed in your relevant company, then you will have to keep your game up. You will have to enroll on the latest skills. You will have to adapt with the latest technologies that have you can say have been implemented in your industry in order to stay just ahead of everyone else. Okay, employers need to consistently nurture and employees need to be employable. So again, it's a two-way street. The employees will have to provide what the employer want, and the employer, on the other hand, will have to give what the employees want. And if any of those in today's day and age doesn't work, then either the employee will get laid off or the employee will change employer will switch job in order to get what he wants. Okay, so and Lee Hecht Harrison requires the participants to identify. Yeah, so this is just a practice that this the author's firm usually takes whenever a person submits his or her application to get employed at some company through this firm, that the Lee Hecht Harrison, the outplacement firm, usually ask that particular person, whoever he or she is, to write down his or her 25 achievements, professional achievements. Okay, and when I read this for the first time, I thought, okay, so I write my 25 achievements in my professional field? I think I cannot at the moment. So I don't know how what the people should write in this specific case, and I was a bit I couldn't understand that how on earth a person with, you can say, 3 to 4 years of professional experience can write 25 achievements before when he or she applies to an outplacement firm. Okay, so the another subheading of this chapter is you are a service provider. Um, so this is a thing that author kind of changed up my perspective on things, that if even if you are employed in some company and working as a full-time job as an employee, then even then you need to consider yourself as a service provider, and you need to consider the employer which is paying your salary as your client. Okay, so this sort of approach changes the perspective, changes the way I think of myself as a resource, because from a company's point of view, I'm just a resource. Okay, good or bad, that's for the company to decide, but from a company's perspective, I'm a resource. And if I'm going to consider myself as a service provider, then in that particular perspective, I will be more inclined to work on my service, the quality of my service that I deliver to my to my employer or client, in as this book referred. So, and that will particularly help me in improving my quality, my services quality, and it will, help. It will contribute to my professional growth. And yeah, this service provider and how you can improve your service, how um, you can say what are the steps to improve the quality of your service. All these things have been mentioned later in the book, which we will discuss when the relevant chapter will arrive. Okay, and we are service providers to our organization, better organization, an employee. Okay, organization, our client, and okay, employability anchors stability. Okay, so the another subchapter heading is that employability anchors stability. So this is, you can say now, this is a kind of a duplication. This is kind of a repetition of the same point again and again at this point, regarding this first chapter, that as much as you are employable in for some organization, that much you will be more stable. Okay, that's this will be the magnitude of which you will be more, how much you will be stable in that particular organization. If you are more skillful than the other employees, if you are more talented or hardworking or staying ahead of others kind of guy in the organization, then you are the least likely to get affected by any delayering, by any restructuring the company intends to follow up in the future in the future. Okay, and relevant and competitive. Yeah, so the employees basically need to stay competitive. They need to be more, they need to work on their efficiency, their effectiveness, their quality of service in order to get that particular increment, in order to get that bonus they expect from their employer, and so on and so forth. Okay, along with your team players, you need to see. Okay, so here the author mentions something which I'm gonna read, that there will always be someone who's willing to give us a position within an organization because our services are relevant, one point, competitive, valuable, and will surely lead to growth for the organization. So these are the four things the author has um, focused on, that these are the 4 points that you must have in yourself, and then this will be kind of a guarantee for you that you will you will stay employed, rather than get part of the delayering process by the company. Okay, and after that there is a case study of Japan job market in terms of job tenure. um, in general, average job tenure in Japan is down to approximately 12 years, and there are some indications that this downward trend may continue. Okay, so 12 years, if you ask me, then it's a lot of time to spend in a company. Okay, but considering the history of Japan's job market, the Japanese employees used to work for lifetimes. They used to give lifetimes to the companies they started their job in, and this was considered a good thing back in the day in Japan. But now, from a lifetime of 30 or 35 years of employment in the same company, now it has come down to 12 years, which is, I think, is still a lot of time. But I think from 30 to 12, it has come a long way. And yeah, so this was a bit of a long discussion on chapter number 1, and I will try to be more consistent with this book as well, in addition to the book that I am already discussing, the Shashi Tharoor. And tell you can it I know it's been currently it's on 55 minutes 10-second mark, and it's been a quite long video, but I think this book that I have just discussed today is it's worth it. It's worth it to discuss it in more detail, and I will try to improve my you can say the discussion skills regarding to discuss books more concisely but to the point. And because I noticed in today's video that things were getting a bit repetitive at the end, which but I was my goal for today was to discuss the whole chapter as concisely and as I can, but to touch almost all parts or all sub chapters of the chapter number 1. Okay, so here it was all. And if you have any questions, like there were some labor statistics, there were some job market tenure statistics, employee statistics of different job markets around the world, which we also discussed today. We also discussed the basics of employability, the basics of how we reach here. Okay, like how we got so competitive, how the corporate world got so competitive, got so efficient, got so cutthroat when it comes to delayering. Because 30 to 40 years back, delayering was considered quite a bad thing in the corporate world, and that memory that they can get layered uh, even 1 year or 2 years after. Okay, so this was all for this live session. Okay, so let me know if you have any questions in the comment section, and I will see you in the next one. Okay, thank you very much.